Hello, everybody. We're going to talk a little bit about accommodate or modify and understanding the difference. And I know that I shared this information, a little of this information with you in the special education basics video. However, I want to go just a little bit deeper. So we're going to look at this information and we'll walk through all the stuff that you know already pretty well, and then want to get to the point where we've got an activity. There is a document called Is It an Accommodation document in Files. Go ahead and try to have that up either on your computer or print a copy of it or whatever, because we're going to play with that a little bit in just a little while. All right, so let's look at this. We looked at these terms accommodate, modify, and adapt, and we talked about each of those. Accommodate is to make fit or suitable, adapt or adjust. It's about accessing information and demonstrating knowledge. It does not change content. It provides equal access for learning. It provides equal opportunity to demonstrate knowledge, and it varies in intensity and degree. Basically, for accommodation, you can interchange the word differentiated instruction and you'll be perfectly set to do that because it does not change the content. And you can differentiate anytime, you can accommodate anytime. You don't have to have a plan or a program in place to do that. Modify is different. It changes the what, it changes the learning, what we're going to learn, and how to demonstrate that you learned it. So it changes or alters things, and it changes instruction level or benchmark, changes number of key concepts mastered, it changes the content. So with a modification, you must have an IEP in place for that particular student to develop an IEP or to develop a modification. It must be IEP driven for modifications. And remember, it changes the content. Adapt is just another piece of accommodate. It's to use things in new ways. Most often we're talking technology. And we talked about this airplane being an accommodated cockpit, or a modified, not a modified, but a adapted cockpit. So it doesn't change it. It just allows this individual with a disability to fly the plane. Now, these are the modification sheet categories. And remember, modifications are content changes. So we need to be very aware of those. Now here's the activity. Once you've downloaded the accommodation, is it an accommodation sheet? Start working through it and mark the ones, do you think it's an accommodation or do you think it's a modification? You can pause the video and do that now, or you can just do it as we go through. Now I want you to take a closer look at that very first one. Important words and phrases, the main idea, the central idea, whatever it is, highlighted. Now then, I want you to think about that. Most often, you guys have marked that that is an accommodation. Well, is it? Let's take a look. Here is the ELA TEKS for first grade 9. So it's this first grade ELA TEK number 9 is multiple genres, listening, speaking, reading, writing, and thinking using multiple texts, genres. The student recognizes and analyzes the genre-specific characteristics, structures, and purposes, etc. Then when we get down to D of that, the student is expected to recognize characteristics and structures of informal informational text, including the central idea and supporting evidence with adult assistance. There you go. With adult assistance means highlighted already for the student. So for first grade, this particular text is an accommodation, not a modification. But let's look 2 grades later at 3.9. And what do you see? Look down at D and then I. The central idea in supporting evidence does not say with adult support, does it? So that means that if you as a teacher have highlighted the text and the main idea, the central idea, then that is a modification in third grade and forward. So you need to be very careful. So the takeaway for this is that you need to know where the student's present level of academic functioning and performance is and the student's enrolled grade level. You must know those texts very well. You must know the text before the text you're currently teaching and then what they're going to in the next grade. So this is very important, and some that we consider accommodations now in a later grade might very well be a modification. So you need to know that. Thank you very much for your time.